What up, gamers? Spencer here, and welcome to my first impressions of all the cards in Heirs of the Omen, the third card set for Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. So right now, I am still on a break from YouTube here. If you didn't know, I'm just not uploading videos to take a break until August 31st, but I thought I would make an exception here because recently they just revealed all the cards for Heirs of the Omens here, so I thought while it's still fresh before it releases tomorrow, that I will just take a look at it. Now, before we get started, I want to make a disclaimer here that I'll be giving my very unprofessional and somewhat noobish takes on these cards. You know, I'm just a casual of Shadowverse, I'm not a pro or anything, but at the same time, I am not new to it. I have played Shadowverse 1 for many, many years, so yeah, hopefully that's good enough for me to judge these cards. Anyways, here we go, man. So yeah, also too, uh, this is my second take into this video. During my first take, it took me 1 hour to do the whole thing, and I don't want to subject you guys to that for that length. So instead, to make things faster, what I want to do here is just go over each card like very fast and then give my overall thoughts on all the cards in the craft, the class over here. So starting with the Devotee of the Unkilling for Abysscraft here, um, I think he's a good follower to play at turn 1. You know, you can play him, in a way deal damage by -1 defense, which is what you have back in Shadowverse 1 with the Unkilling cards here. They would like reduce the defense of enemy followers. And then also the evolve is also nice to have to do it again if you can't evolve anything else. The Bearer of the Fairy Blade, I think it's really good too if the enemy can't destroy it like right away on their second turn. But yeah, maybe later on it might get destroyed very easily, so you can't make this work. But if it does survive though, then yeah, next turn if you just play a bunch of pixie followers, I think this will be good damage to the face over here, in my opinion. Bestial Swipe. Select an enemy follower on the field and deal 4 damage to it. Combo 3, draw a card. I think it's a good card in general, just because 4 damage is pretty big. You can pretty much take down like pretty much every card during like turn 2 or 3. So I do like this. And then yeah, if you can combo, you can draw a card, which is a nice bonus too. Supplicant of the Unkilling. Give all enemy followers on the field -3 defense, which I like. Super Evolve though does sound kind of expensive because you do the same thing here again. I already like the -3 defense. If this was a normal evolve, I'd probably, you know, like a lot more because it's cheaper. Because I'd rather be super evolving other cards instead. But yeah, it's still a very powerful effect. I think I do like this a lot. Um, Greatwood Warrior, last words. Add Deepwood Bounty and Fairy to your hand. Um, yeah, these two cards here, I think they're good. I think the card itself I don't care much about except for the cards that you get. This might be good with Roach. So yeah, I do like that. Hamlet of Unkilling. Select a card in your hand and discard it, draw 2 cards. Then, when you engage it, destroy this card, select an enemy follower in the field, and give it -2 defense. This one I think is also pretty good too. You know, if there's a card that you don't like, just discard it, draw 2 cards, and you can also potentially take down an enemy follower as well. But you know, later on, this might not be good at all, because they might have like cards with higher defense in general, but the fanfare is pretty interesting. I think it's good. Congregant of the Unkilling. When this card enters the field, summon an exact copy of it and give it the exact copy -1 defense. And it has Russian Ward. Now this card here I'm really curious about because, you know, this is not a fanfare card. And whenever I see that, it makes me think that, you know, maybe it's meant to be like maybe be used in like Crosscraft or something with maybe Shadowcraft or Abysscraft. Because imagine like reanimating this card here, because then yeah, this card will still work. I'm just wondering if they're like setting something up in the future where you can just reanimate this card and you can still make use of the effect. But I feel like, you know, if you don't have Crosscraft in mind, you might as well just make this into a fanfare effect. But I don't know, I'm guessing there's like other ways to summon this card since it's not a fanfare. So yeah, I'm just wondering why you would do this. It's whenever this card enters the field, so I am wondering about like what's going to be used with this card in the future. Because right now, I don't think there's any cards that can like summon it other than like playing it normally, I think. I could be wrong. But yeah, I think there's something going on with this card here that might be very good and special for it. Eradicating Arrow. Do this X times. Give a random enemy follower in the field -1 defense. X is your combo. I think this is also very good too. Also a good, cheap combo card as well to play. And then now we get to the Heir of the Unkilling. Cruel. Give all enemy followers in the field -2 defense, which I like. Ambush. Once on each of your turns, when an enemy follower is given defense on the field, restore 1 defense to your leader, which I think is yeah, yeah, good too. That's the minus defense here. So every time you use those unkilling cards, yeah, this one I think is good too. I think you're definitely not meant to like attack with it. You definitely want to keep it on ambush and make use of the effect to restore health. But if you do super evolve it though, then you get this here. Whenever an allied follower enters the field, give it 1/1, and that's for your enemies. So they'll definitely take down any puppets, knights, or fairy followers. I think that's pretty good. But like at the same time, I don't know if it's really worth the super evolve though, because you do want to maybe keep it on ambush. Maybe this would be good for like a finisher, I guess. But I feel like I would rather just super evolve some other cards instead. And then finally, get a Zudia Annihilation Manifest. Fanfare. Select an enemy follower in the field and give it -6 defense. Evolve. Add an Annihilating Onslaught to your hand, which is this card over here. Activates in hand at the end of your turn. Reduce the cost of this card by 1. Then when you play it, deal 6 damage to the enemy leader. If there's this card here, which is the card that, we're looking at right now, then you deal 20 damage instead. Yeah, this here, I feel like this might be kind of hard to set up because, I mean, yeah, you can play this card next turn, but I feel like the enemy will be able to take this down like very fast, so you can't make use of the that bonus effect here. I think definitely the top priority for the enemy would be to take down Azudia. But yeah, I think this will be rarely played, this second effect over here. But yeah, having that 6 damage is pretty good as well for next turn. But yeah, overall, I think it's I'm pretty much in the middle. I think it's pretty okay. But I do think some of the existing archetypes, like with Roach and stuff, might be a lot better. But yeah, this card I'm kind of curious about, man. Like for me, I'm not sure if it's worth playing at 9 play points, but I feel like you're meant to summon this card in other ways. I just don't know what. I can't think of it on the top of my head because it's not a fanfare effect. But yeah, that's the most curious card for Forestcraft so far. Just in general, a lot of like, board control. -3 whenever you play these cards. But yeah, I do like the effects. I do like them a lot. I'm not sure how powerful it will be, but I think I do like them a lot. Anyways, let's go move on to Swordcraft over here. So yeah, I would give it, maybe 3 stars out of 5 for Forestcraft. Swordcraft over here. Now we got the Usurpation cards, Devotee of Usurpation, add the Gilded Boots, and last words, the Goblet to your hand, which I like. And then I saw another card over here that does the same thing for the Necklace and Blade. So yeah, these two like already makes me very hopeful for the Lootcraft cards, or the loot cards here for Senkiro, because I saw him, he confused loot cards, and his damage only gets more effective if you have different name cards fused to it, and this is pretty much the way to do it. One way to do it is Supplicant of Usurpation and Devotee as well to get different names, and yeah, I think that's definitely a way to get them all like very easily, like in the early turns before turn 6. Comrade of the Swordmaster, which summons itself but has no last words after the last words has been activated. This card I'm not really a fan of just because it feels like a waste for 6 cost. There's some better ones like Gildaria that you can play instead, or Senkiro over here, I would say. Shield Bash. Yeah, this one is kind of like the other card here for Forestcraft with the Bestial Swipe, but this time it's randomly selected for the enemy follower. But yeah, you would just pretty much give one of your followers ward on the field. This one I think is cool. I think it's very powerful as well. If you can try to control as well the who can be selected for the random enemy follower stuff. I do like that. And we talked about you already. Peppy Scout. Summon a random Swordcraft follower that costs 3 or less from your deck. If you evolve it, you can give it like another follower on the field, 2/2. Like 2 attack and 2 defense. I think this is pretty good too. I think it's pretty okay. It also like thins out your deck as well, so you can control your deck, unlike what you draw as well. But yeah, I think this one's pretty okay, in my opinion. Layer of Usurpation. Engage. Destroy this card and select the mode to activate. Have like these two here, or these two, like either blade or necklace, or goblets and boots. Another great way to get those loots into your hand. And then we got the Congregant of Usurpation. Fanfare, add the goblets and boots to your hand. And then while it's on the field, whenever you play or fuse a loot card, deal 3 damage to a random enemy follower. When you evolve this, recover 1 play point, assuming that it's meant for playing these loot cards over here. You probably like the boots to give it like, well, I guess it already has rush, but maybe if you want that extra attack too, then maybe you can do that as well. I mean, I would rather save them and yeah, rather like fuse it if I have Senkiro here ready into my hand. But yeah, this one feels pretty okay. Not sure if I feel like evolving because I can just fuse to deal damage instead. Rather do that. Returning Slash. Fuse loot cards. Deal 2 damage to the random enemy follower. Add a Gilded Blade to your hand. If you fuse to this card, a draw card. I think it's also a great card for fusion as well. Not only can you do it with Senkiro here, but also with this Returning Slash as well. So I think that's pretty good. Alright. Then finally, Octress is back. Gain Crest, Octress, Hollowness, Manifest. Evolve. Add the blade and necklace to your hand. And the crest that she gives, whenever you fuse a loot card, advances crest count by 1. Where the last words, you can add this to your hand, which, you know, is 4 damage. Not the biggest thing, in my opinion. Not sure if it's worth, like, getting this to work. This might be good for, like, you know, finishers if you clear the field. Or maybe you want to wipe out, like, a bunch of fairies or something like that. But yeah, I think, you know, definitely here for the evolve, I would say. And then this here is a nice bonus as well to like maybe set up for a finisher if you can. But yeah, definitely prefer Senkiro here because this one is deal damage to all enemies, which sounds pretty powerful. And so far, it's like what 4 loot cards, so you can deal 4 damage to all enemies, which I think is really good. And then do it again too, if you super evolve it as well. But yeah, I think Swordcraft here is looking really good with the loot stuff. It's a lot better than I thought when it comes to like obtaining the loot cards. I thought at first it might be a bit hard, but you know, there are definitely some cards that definitely helps out. Like what? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 if you fuse this. Well, I guess you always add this to your hand. If you fuse it, you draw a card. Yeah, there's like what? Like 6 cards out of 10 here. Which, by the way, I noticed that each one has 10 cards. It feels way less, I think, from the first game, because I think they had more, right? I could be wrong, but I think in the first game, they had more than 10. But, yeah, they have, I guess, 6 out of 4, or 6 out of 10 cards here that deals with adding loot to your hand. Let's see, let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. So yeah, not that bad. That means if you have like 3 copies of each, there's like 24, so more than half of your deck can add loot to your hand. So I think that's good in general. I think that's good. We'll see how that goes, like, because really you can only use it for the Returning Slash for the Fusion and Senkiro. But that's if you want to mainly focus on Fusion. I guess if you want to play the cards itself, I mean, we can take a look. I mean, this is also pretty good. You can target the enemy leader, deal 1 damage to it. I think the blade is probably the best one, in my opinion, to play. What else? Restore defense to your leader. Give a rush. Now, yeah, for me, the blade is probably the best one just because it can deal damage to enemy leader. I think overall, Sword is looking really good with the loot cards in my opinion. Um, but yeah, Runecraft now. Now Runecraft here, just want to say, I was so excited for it because I love Ryo back in Shadowverse 1, but this one here feels very, very weird and janky with like their truth mechanics. So, Devotee of Truth. If this card's cost isn't 2, restore 3 defense to your leader, which means that there are ways to like change the cost of these cards to make their bonus effect work. And I guess we can do that first because it makes more sense. So I think you can do it through I think the Institute of Truth. So yeah, if you engage this card over here, or I guess with the countdown, whenever you play a follower whose cost has been changed, draw a card and advance this amulet's count by 1. Or if you engage, select the follower in your hand, increases cost by 1, and give it 1/1. So yeah, when it comes to, I guess, the normal cards that is not legendary, like this over here too, you can increase the cost by 1 with the Illusory Conjuration, destroy a random enemy follower. But yeah, pretty much you're going to increase the cards by 1 to activate their bonus effects, unless you're Ryo, which reduces the cost of all followers in your deck by 3. But yeah, that's like really late game though, so I'm just really not sure how good that will be. But yeah, that's pretty much how the truth thing works. Now let's go ahead and properly go through each one. Fanfare, summon a Paper Shikigami, which I think is good because this one has Rush. You know, normally in Runecraft, if you're playing Spell Boost, you'd rather play a spell. But this is very good too because it has Rush. You can make the Spell Boost activate like right away if they have enemy followers. And then you can summon it again if you evolve this card. So yeah, this is very good for a Spell Boost deck, in my opinion. Crystal Gazing, you get a Crest where you get a countdown 2, draw 2 cards, deal 4 damage to all enemy followers. I think it's good for later on, obviously. Like, you know, by turn 6, if you play it on turn 4, you can make this activate. But on turn 4, you'll be a sitting duck. So you want to take whatever you can get from that, from the enemies. The Supplicant of Truth. Deal 3 damage to all other followers. If this card's cost isn't 5, draw 2 cards. So yeah, I think you know, that normal effect is good, but man, I'm not sure if I really want to be increasing these cards because man, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I feel like it might be too expensive to play. And then yeah, we saw this before, we already read that to explain how the truth thing works. Summon a Guardian and Clay Golem. I think it's good for, you know, it's a 4 cost, it summons a 3/3 and 2/2. But I feel like, you know, I haven't played much with like some of the other Runecraft cards. I'm not sure if there are good cards for the golems for like it to be its own archetype. But yeah, I can definitely see this be good in the future if they ever make a golem archetype. For now, it's like pretty okay, maybe. Congruent of Truth. If this card's cost isn't 3, summon 2 exact copies of it, which has Rush. And I think this card, probably the best one in my opinion, just because it summons copies of it, which gives a lot of value on the field for it. And then if you super evolve it, which, you know, for me, I'm not the biggest fan of. I'd rather like it being a normal evolve. It feels too expensive to summon an exact copy of this card. But that means you can have 4 copies of this card in the field. And by the way, I'm just wondering what the exact copy means. Because, like, I'm guessing, you know, it will carry on the effects. I guess that's how it works, right? Yeah. It's not like summon a Congruent of Truth. You're summoning exact copies of it. So yeah, this is probably going to be very powerful. Probably the most powerful card here out of all the other cards that has this specific effect where if this card's cost isn't 3 or whatever cost it is, they make this happen. Yeah, probably the best one here when it comes to that. And then yeah, we saw this already to explain the truth thing. But yeah, this is the weird one, man, because, you know, we went through so many of those, like, you know, cost-changing cards. Even Ryo 2, we took a look at it earlier on, like, what it does. But then, you know, like I said, back at the initial reveal for this set, Vilharia, like I think it's good on its own. You know, draw a card, fanfare, evolve, banish an enemy follower, and the super evolve, which I feel like is very not worth it in my opinion because it's very situational. I think the fanfare and evolve is good enough. This is pretty much like that one Lionheart card that is gold. But on its own, I think it's a good card, but I don't see any synergy with it. There's no synergy with Truth at all. I think out of all the other air cards, this one has no relation for the effects when it comes to the Truth. Like their own, I guess, thing that they worship or whatever. I'm not sure what, like, you know, what this is with the Truth and stuff. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's good in general. Kind of confused on why this is the heir to Truth still. Then finally Ryo. Yeah, we saw that first effect, but transform a random spell in your hand when you play it into a ersatz elimination, and it costs 0 until the end of the turn. Which, if you look at this, increase the cost of all followers in your hand by 1. Destroy all enemy followers. So yeah, at least in a way that will guarantee that Ryo will survive on the turn that he's played. But yeah, like overall, I'm not really a big fan of like just increasing the cost of these cards. I feel like it might be a bit too expensive. The only one I think is really good is the Congregant, just because you can summon copies, which feels very valuable. But yeah, this one, all the other cards, I'm not really feeling. Even Ryo, which is kind of disappointing because I love his cards back in Shadowverse 1. I've always thought he was very cool. He's got these like flying knives and stuff. I've always thought that was so cool back in Shadowverse 1. But yeah, not the biggest fan of the Runecraft over here. Maybe except for like Philharia and Congregant of Truth. If you don't count like the synergy with the with the air over here with the truth stuff. I don't see any relation to it at all. Anyways, Dragoncraft. I think Dragoncraft is really good with the disdain effects. So if you don't know about the disdain effects, pretty much they will like damage themselves, but if they survive, they get a additional effect, which this devotee, they draw a Dragoncraft follower, which I like a lot. Then the Snowstorm Dragonute, destroy all damage enemy followers, which is going to be very good for disdain, just because, you know, if you play like Galmex over here, which I think she was the one revealed before, she has this card that you get from her, where you can deal 1 damage to all enemy followers, or not enemy followers, all followers in general. So, yeah, when you target the enemy followers with that, you play that free card, and you destroy them all with this. I think that'll be good to have. And I imagine that you'll be able to do a lot of like that damage type thing a lot. You know, stuff like this. Alright. Moving on to Raging Lightning. Deal 5 damage to all followers with the highest defense. If you're an overflow, deal 3 damage to all leaders with the highest defense. Definitely feels very situational, because this is only good for like enemies with the highest defense, probably with you know, Haven, Ward Haven, I would assume. And then like if you you're also gonna make sure if you're an overflow, you don't want to be the one to take the damage, because I don't think that really counts too, right? When it comes to, you know, damaging your leader and not the follower with the disdain effects. But yeah, this one is very situational. I'm not sure if I like it or not. I feel like I dislike it more than I like it, for me. A Supplicant of Disdain. At the end of your turn, fully restore the defense of this follower and restore the same amount to your leader, which I think is very good, because you can damage it, and then at the end of the turn, you gain defense back, and you want to damage it because it has Rush. So you can like attack an enemy follower and get the defense back at the end, which I think is good, and then heal up your leader as well. So yeah, I think it's a good card. Ocean Rider. Summon a Majestic Megalorca. If you're an overflow, summon 2 instead. Whenever an allied marine follower enters the field, give it ward. I feel like over time they're just slowly building up this marine archetype, so that maybe in one of the future expansions we'll get a full-on like Megalorca Marine archetype that we can work with. But yeah, I think he's cool. When I first saw him, he kind of looked like Hiro Ryugasaki from the Shadowverse anime. But yeah, that's what I thought when I first saw him. I think that's good for the Megalorcas in general. But definitely, I feel like it's more worth it if you can get that overflow in effect. Alright, Nation of Disdain. Countdown 4. Engage 1. Deal 1 damage to all followers. So yeah, this is also a really great card. You can activate this before, Snowstorm Dragonute. And then yeah, that's how you can just take down all the enemy followers that way. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good card to have as well. Congregant of Disdain. Deal 3 damage to all followers, which, is a bit more than you want for like someone like the Devotee of Disdain. He's going to go down because of it. But at the end of your turn, if this follower's defense is 3 or less, give all Dragoncraft followers in your hand 1 attack and 1 defense, which is pretty good. I do like that a lot. Imagine just like trying to buff up your Forte or your Genesis Dragon that way. Like the ones that you can give with Storm. So yeah, that might be good to have. This card, I think is pretty good. Definitely, Devotee does not want to feel the damage from this one. But also, you gotta make sure your defense is 3 or less. So if you do play this, I assume it will damage itself, so it'll go like 5-4. And then you want to play something like this card over here to deal 1 damage to itself. But yeah, this is a 5 cost, so you definitely want to play this first. And then, yeah, with this Grass. Yeah, that's how you do it. You definitely want to play Galmix first because you get this Crest here where when they take damage but isn't destroyed, you get this to your hand. So that's how you do it. Okay. But then otherwise, if you can't, get that card out, you can maybe use something like this, where you can deal 1 damage to a follower with the Ferocious Flame. But yeah, this one I think is also really good too. Definitely going to be a staple. And then Azure Rifrit, Heir to Disdain. I think this card is really cool because it deals pretty much like when you play it, you deal 2 damage to all followers 2 times. Which yeah, the Devotee is definitely not going to survive that. I guess maybe even all the other followers too. I'm guessing, with the cost of this card as well, it's definitely made to be played solo. But yeah, pretty much deal 6 damage to all followers, which this will reduce this card's defense to 1. But then when you super evolve it, you restore your defense and do it again. And every time you damage, this card gets damage, you deal 1 damage to the enemy leader. So you can deal 12 damage in total if you super evolve to all followers. And then also deal 6 damage to the enemy leader. So yeah, that's if you super evolve though. Normally, it'll be 6 damage to all enemy followers, or not, to all followers, and then 3 to the enemy leader. So this would be really good for just controlling the board. I think this card is really good. It might be a bit expensive for late game though, but I think it's good. I kind of see it in a way like with that one Twilight Dragon, where you just try to play it at a very expensive cost, just to control the board. But this one has a nice, bonus too to like damage the enemy leader as well. So I think this card is really good. And then of course we got Galmix, which is very good. You can get Storm with this card. Now imagine like buffing up this card too with the Congregant over here, so you can just make it go 6-6 or 7-7. And then, yeah, whenever it's not destroyed, when it takes damage but it isn't destroyed, deal 3 damage to a random enemy follower. So yeah, I think Dragon is looking really, really good. I do like it a lot. I think it's going to be very powerful if you know how to play it. And now we get to Abysscraft, which I'm very much excited about because it has this whole new mechanic with the Faith, and that deals with the mode stuff. But yeah, I do like this gimmick a lot. So pretty much, with, I guess, to explain the whole Faith thing, which one of you guys actually told me that there was a video where they explained it. So yeah, now it makes a lot of sense for me, because when I first saw this with the Faith, I did not know what it means. But now I saw that video, I know how it kind of works now for the most part. So yeah, definitely thank you for that. But pretty much, if there's a faith card here, it gets added to your crest zone automatically at the beginning of the match, and then every time you play a mode, it increases by one, the faith by one. And I assume that, you know, with the counter of the faith, that means that there's a requirement where, um, when you play this card here, Samsha, you reduce the faith of it by 10, so you can get this effect over here, which now I see is very powerful when I saw that video. But yeah, I assume that you need 10 faith to make this work, and if not, I guess it does nothing at all. But yeah, I'm just wondering if you can, because it doesn't say, like, I don't know if this is really a requirement or not. Like, can you go to a negative number? Let's say you play this on turn 2 with no modes chosen at all. Does that mean you'll go -10? I'm guessing you need 10 to make this work. That's what I'm just assuming right now. But I can definitely see this being very, very powerful. Because, yeah, when you play this, when you get this going, you can increase the number of modes you can select by 1, which is very powerful. And then Super Evolve. Yeah, we saw this card before too. Select an enemy follower in the field, destroy it, and add a copy of it to your hand. But yeah, I think it's also, pretty okay, I would say. I think you're mainly going to play it for the faith here. Anyways, let me get to the Abysscraft. Fanfare. Select the mode to activate. Deal 1 damage to all enemy followers, or give this follower 2/2. And if you evolve it, you do the same thing again with the mode. Now just imagine that with the faith thing with Samsha. Then you can do this like 2 times, like what, a total of 4? Like, with the evolve as well. But yeah, just imagine this, like 4/4 here. And then you evolve, like just a normal evolve. That'll be 6. And then you choose this 2 times. You can get this guy to like 11/11. Or 12/12 if you super evolve, I think, if I did my math right. Did I do my math right? Yeah, I think I did my math right. So like if you just evolve, you get 2. Then if you do this like 4 times, that'll be 8. That's 10. Man. Yeah, cards like this will be very powerful on its own if you do that. If you do it that way. But that's if you can get like Shamcha here to be normal. Anyways, but even like on its own too, if we get Shamcha, it'll be a 5/5. This card is going to be very powerful already. Anyways, next one. Ephemeral Demon Princess. Select 2 enemy followers in the field and destroy them. Deal 4 damage to your leader. And it has Storm. I think this card is great because, you can destroy the enemy followers if they have Ward. Maybe they might just have 1 or 2 of them, unless they're Ward Haven. Then yeah, maybe you're in trouble. But also it has Storm 2 as well, so you can also like maybe Super Evolve around this time and deal like 7 to the face. Yeah, I think this card is very good too. Now March of the Brutes. Deal 2 damage to the random enemy followers and the enemy leader. I think that's good as well. Maybe you don't want to play this too much because, it's not really like a lot of damage you can do. I feel like you want to save it mainly for the enemy leader for like at the end. But yeah, I think it's pretty okay to have. A Supplicant of Entwining. So you can deal 3 damage to a random enemy follower or restore 2 defense to your leader. But yeah, I feel like if I were to do the mode thing, I guess it's very situational. I mean, if you don't have any enemy followers, might as well restore health to your leader. And then if you evolve, do it again. So yeah, if you have Samcha, you can restore 8 defense to your leader if you go all the way, or 12 damage to all enemy followers randomly. But yeah, Shamcha, man, it's gonna be a very big deal. I do like that. Enhance 7, reanimate 5 and 3 for the Spirited Gravekeeper. Now, I don't know any targets for this because I don't play reanimate. I think Cerberus has that, right? But I don't even play reanimate, which is unfortunate because I love reanimate back in Shadowverse 1 with Mordecai. That was so much fun. But in this game, I don't really play that a lot. I play the aggro Abyss. So I'm not sure like what good targets would be for 5 and 3 with this. But But yeah, I can't see it right now. But if there are good targets for 5 and 3, then I guess this card might be good to have for like maybe 1 or 2 copies of. You definitely don't want to play this like on turn 2. You'd rather like maybe save it. Castle of Entwining. Fanfare. Do the mode again. Draw a card. I'll give a random allied follower in the field 1/1. And then if you destroy this card, you activate that again. Now imagine that with Shamcha, dude. You can give 4/4. Imagine giving that to someone with Storm. But yeah, dude, Abysscraft is about to be crazy. Like if you pair this with the Storm stuff that we have going on with Aggro Abyss, I think yeah, Abysscraft is about to be like on another level here. I think it's gonna be very powerful. Congregant of Entwining. So we got more modes. You can summon itself and give it rush, or give it ward, or give copies of the card. 2/2. And then if you super evolve, you can do it again. Which yeah, I'm not sure if I wanna super evolve though. I think, you know, just this enough is good. Now just imagine this with Shamcha, dude. That means you can summon 2 of these, then 2 of these, and then yeah, like you have pretty much 5 of them with Shamcha if you super evolve. But yeah, the mode stuff is gonna be crazy. I think it's about to be very, very broken and powerful. But yeah, I think it's also a very good card since you can like summon another copy of it. Or I guess, you know, summon a normal card of it. Yeah, see, like, I guess with the exact copy of the Abysscraft here, it does carry over, like, the stats and stuff, so... Yeah, this one might be kind of crazy, man. I think it'll be kind of crazy. Like, in combination of the Institute of Truth. Yeah, this card is about to be crazy with the stat carryover. Let me go back to, where were we at again? Abysscraft, yeah. Wait, this card, very good. Screaming and Loathing. So yeah, you can, you know, with Samcha, you can do like 1 each if you want to. But yeah, this is very situational. I think it's a good card to have because it's very dynamic. You can do like whatever you want. Draw a follower, 3-cost spell, deal 4 damage to a random enemy follower. But yeah, I think it's good to have. Really, it's really situational though, so... But it's a good situational card. Shamcha, which we did talk about earlier. But yeah, reduce the faith of hers by 10. So yeah, I assume you need 10 faith to activate this, where you can increase the number of modes you can select by 1. That means you can activate the modes 2 times now. And then if you play multiple copies of her, man, ooh, then 3 and 4. I feel like that'll be hard to get because, you know, what if you just play her on turn 2? Because you have like no other choice. Or like, you know, later on, before you can make this work. Super Evolve, yeah, we saw that. I think we read this card already, so I'll skip it. Then finally, Rule 9 the Science Guy, and Vulneric. Fanfare, select the mode to activate. And yeah, dude, the effects here are very crazy, very good. So if you choose Screaming Diffusion, summon 2 copies of it and give them Rush. Now imagine you do that twice. That's 5 cards in the field. 4 of them have Rush. But you're very, very powerful. And then just imagine that too, like, with this over here. Now, yeah, I guess you can do that too. Oh, wow. So if you want, maybe 2 copies of these are good enough to, like, take down enemy followers with Ward. And then if you do this, which gives an existing copy of the Rule 9 Storm, then yeah, you can go for the face. But dude, you can either go for like full on, you know, 25 damage and defense with the Shamsha, or you can do like a combination of this and this over here. But yeah, dude, Rule 9, the mode stuff in general, is looking very powerful. And also the value too at 7 costs. Just even by itself without Shamcha, like that's already like 10 damage you can do. Like right away with Rush. But yeah, dude, Abysscraft I think might be the best one out of all of them. And I saw that with the next update, they're going to have like a free deck giveaway, which is Swordcraft, Dragoncraft, and Abysscraft. I think I'm going to go Abysscraft, man. Finally, I can play Abysscraft. Because they're my, at least, back in Shadowverse 1, Shadowcraft is my favorite, other than Portalcraft. But dude, I think this might be it, man. This might be where I go ahead and main. Have like one of my mains be Abyss, alongside with Portalcraft over here. But yeah, I think this might be the best one, in my opinion. I think, Sword and Dragon are also like very, very good. Like top contenders in my opinion. But yeah, this is looking really good for Abysscraft, man. Anyways, now we move on to Havencraft and Portalcraft, which I gotta say, guys, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think the effects with the repose stuff back in Shadowverse 1 is so much better than in this game because, yeah, I think the repose effects kind of suck. And if you don't know what the repose effects are, the repose effects pretty much, they have, all of them have this thing where if you don't attack this turn, then an effect will activate. So like with this card here, when you play it, you gain a crest. If you don't attack the end of until the end of the turn, give a random allied follower on your field -2 attack and ward, which, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of that. I want to be able to attack. I think on its own, the repose is really bad. Maybe with some other cards it might be good. But dude, this is like really bad. Because like, you're just kind of like limiting yourself. You can't attack. And like the only one that really damages the enemy, like with the leader and stuff, I think is Marwyn. All the others are very defensive. Like with this one, well, not this one here. Yeah, this one here is a very good card. Because when this card gets plus attack or defense on field, restore 1 defense to your leader, and it has ward. This is a Wilbert card, and that's really good. That's one way to heal up, and then also have a ward effect too. But this one, the Knights of the Holy Order, very good. A Blinding Faith, deal 3 damage to all enemy followers. I think that one is also like already pretty good to play. The Enhance I'm not the biggest fan about because, you're still dealing 3 damage, and I feel like during that time, the enemy will still have like some tough cards, like followers on the field. I'm not sure if like drawing 3 cards and restoring 3 defense will save yourself during that turn, at turn 8. And then we have the Supplicant of Repose. You get a crest where you restore 1 defense to your leader if you don't attack, which I do not think is worth it. And then you got the Temple of Repose. Last words, restore 2 defense to your leader, and give your leader barrier, which is new. I think you were never able to give your leader a barrier before. And then you can engage to increase the amulet's count by X. Like advance it. Just based on the number of crests that you have. Yeah, I think the barrier for the leader is good. At least there's that. And also with the effect over here, at least you don't need to not attack. And then the Winged Lion statue, countdown 3, last words, summon a Holy Falcon and Holy Flame Tiger. Engage 1, advances amulet's count by 1. I think this one is good in general. It's kind of like, with the other cards here where you can summon this guy and, the Holy Falcon as well. It's kind of like that, but now you can summon both of them. I think it's good. Congregant of Repose. Select an enemy follower on the field and destroy it. Which on its own, that's already very good. But then when you evolve, you get this, where if you did an attack this turn, draw a follower with 4 defense. And if you want to know what the options are for the Repose people, I mean, pretty much all the Repose cards have 4 defense, so yeah, you'll be gambling with these guys over here. But yeah, I think at least with this, it's more useful than like the ward and the healing, in my opinion. It's more useful than that with the drawing the follower. And it's also very specific too, if you want to set yourself up. And now we got the Shining Disenchantment. Countdown 4, last words, deal 4 damage to 4 damage split between all enemies. Restore 4 defense to your leader. Yeah, this one is pretty meh. I like the 4 defense restore, but if they have like some heavy followers with the defense, 4 damage is not going to be that good. And then we got Himika, Heir to Repose. So yeah, this is the one that they did not show first. They showed Marwyn first. Gain Crest, Himika. And if you're super evolved, you can set the attack of all enemy followers on the field to 4, which at first sounds kind of weird. Just imagine doing that with the fairies, enemy fairies. But then you have this here where, at the end of your turn, if there's this card in the field, give a random enemy follower on the field with 4 attack, or give X to a random enemy follower on the field with 4 attack or less. Can attack followers or leaders, and at the end of your turn, banish this card. X equals the number of crests that you have. So yeah, I mean, I think this card is really good. At least you can you can attack. So I do like that. You can also stun your opponents too, and then banish them as well. So that's really good too. But yeah, this card I think is really good for what Repose has so far. And then finally we have Marwyn, which we saw before, but I do want to make one addition, like one additional comment. I think this card is a lot worse than I thought, because when I first saw this card, I did not see the split in damage. So yeah, when you play this card and evolve it, you gain this crest here, where at the end of your turn, if allied followers didn't attack this turn, deal X damage split between all enemies. X is the number of crests that you have. So at first, I thought there was no split at all. So like if you have 4 or 5 crests, you would deal 4 or 5 damage to all enemies. And I thought that was very powerful. But then I did not see the split, which means you need to divide that 4 or 5 damage up, which I assume will be your target when trying to build up the crest here. And I think that's so bad. Yeah, I think that's insanely bad. So yeah, a lot worse than I initially thought. Not even like when you play this, you get this card here, banish a random enemy follower in the field, and then delay the counts of all your crests by 1. Like yeah, like it really sucks because I feel like this will be fine. This whole repose thing will be fine if you have some damaging effects. But the only one really is like, I guess the Marwyn cards, this over here and this over here. I think if there was no split, yeah, I think if there was no split at all, I think this would save it. At least, make it better. Maybe not save it, but make it a lot better. But yeah, because there's a split, like, and you're not supposed to attack, I think this is so bad. I think the repose cards are really, really bad. Because it's all like defense, not a lot of like offense. And you're not supposed to attack, so like how else are you supposed to damage the leader? Unless like there's some other cards that I don't know of in Havencraft so far, where you can deal like effect damage to the enemy leader, but man, I don't know any right now. I can't think of any. I think it's really, really bad. So yeah, that's Havencraft, and now Portalcraft over here, which revolves around, summoning these cards over here that we saw before, the White Psalm and then the Black Psalm. So yeah, when they're destroyed, the White Psalm restores 1 defense to your leader, and then if the Black Psalm gets destroyed, it deals 1 damage to the enemy leader. And so yeah, you pretty much go back and forth, because when they also get destroyed, you summon the other color, the black and white. So yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. Now for the Devotee of Destruction here, give this follower XX. X is the number of all other allied cards in the field. Destroy all other allied cards on the field. So yeah, this is very good if you are able to play, or at least get, these cards out first. Otherwise, it's not going to do much for you. But like, if you're able to pull it off for late game, I think that's when this card will shine. But on its own right now, you can't really do much with it if you're not able to pull it off. I think right now the only way to get the Psalm out is through Lee Shenna, and then also this one over here too, where you can summon it this way as well. But yeah, that's only like 6 cards that you can make it work with. There's also this card over here where you can just put on the field. Last words, you draw a card. There's no countdown on this. You can make it work like that. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this. Maybe this might be good if you play like puppets. Like you sacrifice them and then you get this working out. But like I'd rather save my puppets for attacking. But yeah, I think this one definitely better for late game stuff. Supersonic Fighter. So this is an artifact card where when you play it, you summon the Gamma, which I do like a lot. When you evolve, you can give it a 3/3 if you want, or a different follower, like artifact follower as well. I think this one is pretty good. Because like, if you just work by itself, you evolve this, it gets like 5/5 or 6/6. Then this will get 8/5. And then you got this effect where you can deal 3 damage to all enemy followers. I think this is good in general. I think it's good. I do like this a lot. But maybe I won't add like too much copies of it. I feel like it might be a bit too expensive for 7. And then I might not be able to evolve. But even in itself, with the Gamma effect, it does sound good just to control the board. Wired Assault. Select an enemy follower in the field and destroy it. Add 2 copies of Puppet to your hand. I think that's also very good too. Good for puppets, like very powerful for puppets. Supplicant of Destruction, Fanfare. Select another allied card in the field. If you select one, destroy it and deal 2 damage to a random enemy follower. And then if you evolve it, you do it again. But yeah, it's good if you're able to get the Psalms out. But yeah, by itself on turn 2, probably gonna do nothing at all. Field Scientist. Select a card in your hand and discard it. Draw 3 cards, which is pretty meh. But at the same time, 3 cards is a lot. So yeah, you definitely want to use this as a situational thing, but yeah, I'm not sure how good that will be. Wasteland of Destruction. Select another allied card in the field. If you select one, destroy it and draw 2 cards. And then yeah, we saw this before, where you can play this. It's an amulet. And then you can use this guy here if you want to, make his effects work. But yeah, I think it's good because you at least draw 2 cards. I feel like another good target too would be that one Ding Dong girl. But yeah, I feel like you want to be very careful. I feel like only puppets are the good ones to play with these cards. I assume that's how, if you want to play this deck, that's how you want to maybe, make the effects here work out with the destruction effects. Fanfare. Destroy X, random enemy followers. X is the number of other allied cards in the field. Destroy all other allied cards in the field. But yeah, once again, it'll be good. Pull this out. But yeah, now that I think more about the puppets, I feel like, this could work out. Because yeah, this is very powerful too. Imagine you save up 4 puppets in your hand, and then you play this. And then you destroy all the other followers on the field, like the enemy followers. But yeah, I think it might be pretty powerful on its own. I think this one is probably one of the better ones when it comes to the destruction. Devastating Soprano. Destroy an allied card and summon a White Psalm. Very much good, because you definitely want this to be out if you want to play this archetype. And now Axia. Heir to Destruction. Ward can't be destroyed by abilities, which is nice. But it can be destroyed by enemies though, like the followers. So you want to be careful of that. But Super Evolve, deal X damage to the enemy leader. X is the number of other allied cards in the field. Then you destroy all the other allied cards in the field. I guess if you, I guess it doesn't count itself, right? So yeah, I'm guessing definitely for late game, once you get this out. Like the Psalm cards. So when you have like 4 of it, and then you evolve, you deal 4 damage to the enemy leader. I mean, I feel like that's not enough. I feel like it's so little. Well, I guess as well, like you'll be rotating in and out, right? With the like restoring defense to your leader and dealing damage to the enemy leader. And then yeah, we get to this card over here, which we saw before. Oh, I didn't even realize too, it can be destroyed by abilities too. I never noticed that. I thought it was just Axia here. Oh wow, that's cool. Well, yeah, there you have it, man. That's all the Portalcraft cards. I mean, for me, the thing I'm kind of worried about is that, you know, I'm just not sure how fast or slow you can make this effect go out with the. I think the more important one here would be the Black Psalm, because you want to deal damage to the enemy leader. But like, yeah, I'm not sure just how fast, you know, going back and forth with these two will be. That's my main worry for this. I do think though with Portalcraft, it is a lot better than Havencraft. I think Havencraft got it the worst. But you know, that's with my unprofessional opinion. But at least you know, Portalcraft here does look a lot better. I think it'll work out with puppets because you can sacrifice them. I don't know any other cards that might be good other than them and the Ding Dong Girl. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I think yeah, my only worry is that it might be kind of slow to get these guys out because there's only like 6 cards that does that. You're gonna have to rely on the puppets and this card over here if you want to play something outside of these Psalms. That's my main worry right now with this. It might be a bit too slow if you want to be dedicated to the Psalms here. And finally, we have neutral here, which we have the Apostle of Veracity. This might be good to give if you have like an extra play point, so 11 play points. Like if you're going second, imagine combining this with Abysscraft with the Rolnai. Give it Storm. That'll be 9, and then it loses 4 defense, right? It gives 4 attack and minus 4 defense. So yeah, you can do that if you want to. Give it Storm. Then if you evolve, you get 11 or 12 to the face. But you know, that's going to be very situational. But I think this will be very good for Abysscraft in general. Maybe even Haven, since they got a lot of defense. Greatness Ascended. Draw 3 cards. If there are no duplicate cards in your deck, recover 3 play points. At first, I thought this was a bad card. But then, we got the Tablet of Tribulations, where it banishes all duplicates from your deck. And then when you engage this, you draw a card. I think this card probably saved Miriabane for me. At least, you know, when it comes to this card at least. Because it definitely helps you just like be able to draw the cards that you want. And I think the one that you want, if you're playing a Miriabane type of deck, is to, you know, actually get his deck over here. One copy of it, you can really control it. So yeah, if you get this on turn 3, you can easily make Miriabane work maybe. Because if you have like, you know, I guess 3 copies of each, right? You can banish them all. Reduce it down to like around maybe 10 cards, maybe. And then yeah, hopefully one of those turns you'll be able to get Miriabane out. I think you'll definitely need like a lot of like drawing cards to make this deck work. If you want to make a Miriabane deck, I'm gonna guess drawing cards is the way to go for this so that you can get that Miriabane deck out. That'll be a fun gimmick to try out. So yeah, this card is safe because of the Tablet of Tribulations, because then you can make this recover play points thing work. I think it's good if you're trying to go for a Miriabane deck. So yeah, we have the Inspirational one and the Dog one, which is kind of like the same thing, but when the enemy follower super evolves, this one gets Bane, and this one has a ward already. And then this one gains Storm, and it has Rush already. And then their stats are kind of like flipped from 1-3 to 3-1. I think it's cool. I think this will be good for Abysscraft. This one probably good in Havencraft with Ward. And then yeah, there's Miriabane. This card I really want to try out to see if I can make this work out. And then we got Gilnis. Veracity Manifest. Selected enemy, another follower in the field. They go to attack and -2 defense. And then if we both have 10 max play points, we add this card to your hand where we can deal 5 damage to a random enemy follower and the enemy leader. So yeah, this also might be good too. You know, if we do the same combo with the Apostle of Veracity, just without the extra play points on turn 10, then yeah, maybe just like one copy of this is fine with Rolnai. So that way you can give it a, what, like 7? And then combine with this on the next turn, you can do 12 damage to the face. Oh, also if you evolve this too, you can give it a, yeah, you can give it 9. Dang, that's so good. Oh yeah, I'm really excited, man, for Abysscraft. But yeah, this card might be good in Abysscraft. I think I can definitely see it. Anyways, yeah, there you have it, guys. Almost, yeah, I'm pretty much at the hour now. I don't want to go anymore. I think my first take was like 1 hour and 12 minutes. But yeah, I think I'll just go ahead and end it here at 1 hour while it still looks, kind of short. Anyway, guys, yeah, there you have it. That's my thoughts on the Omen of 10, or not Omen of 10, that's Shadowverse 1. The Heirs of the Omen card set here. Yeah, very fun to look at this. I think the main ones that really stand out for me is, I would say, Sword, Dragon, and Abyss. I think Forest is like in the middle for me. And then I would say Rune, Haven, and Portalcraft are probably the most disappointing ones. But I think Portalcraft is the best one out of like the worst ones here for Rune and Haven. But yeah, also neutral. Sounds kind of fun and gimmicky. I really want to try out that Bane deck. So yeah, can't wait for that. Anyway, guys, yeah, this set releases tomorrow, and I'll definitely try my best to build up that Abysscraft deck. I know there's like a free giveaway for it. I'm gonna go for that. I really want to make this work out. I do want to make this work out. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Anyway, guys, yeah, there you have it. I'll end it here. That'll be it for now. That's game.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good